Claire, I'm back out on these YouTube streets and I wanted to encourage all of my lights of the world. I want to encourage you guys and let you know that everybody is not a light. Everybody of this world is not a light, and everybody of this world can't be a light. Or else world, this planet would be the sun. It would light up like the sun if everyone was a light. But a lot of us are chosen to be the light to this world. You know what I mean? And my whole thing is we're not forcing anybody to become light. You don't have to force anybody to become light. When you are light, they're going to be drawn to you one way or the other. Now, once you are a light, you have to make a conscious decision where you take your light. You know, um, I as an adult, when I look at or when I've reviewed The Lion King, they were saying that certain places you just can't go. You know, the king took Simba on the top of the mountain and said everything is yours, but that place you don't want to go over there. You know, and the Bible speaks of us being the light and walking amongst others. Everyone's not chosen. Everybody's not a child of the light. You know what I mean? We have so many variations of people, so many different beliefs. I remember the first time I heard of Jehovah's Witnesses. I think I was in the second grade. I just could not understand why a kid can't celebrate Christmas. I couldn't understand it. My mind, my little mind couldn't fathom it because Christmas is such a joyful, harmless holiday, so I thought. And it is a time to be with family and friends and celebrate and give gifts. And I couldn't understand why my um the kid in my classroom could not participate. He couldn't make construction paper Christmas trees and he couldn't participate in the gift exchange, you know. Um and that was my first experience of the real world. That everybody don't believe what you believe. And I remember being shocked at foster kids. And I just couldn't understand why 13 kids would get off a van who were non-related come into our school and they all lived together and they all went to school together and some of them were all in classes together but they weren't related and they all had a traumatic past of their parents, having a hard time with substance abuse or physical abuse. And I couldn't understand why sometimes that there would be a smelly kid in class and they would not have any new clothes on they'd have the same clothes on from the previous day or they were just unkempt. I couldn't understand it, right? But it was there in elementary school that I learned that everybody comes from different walks of life. And then even as I got older and I began to walk home, sometimes I would walk to a friend's house and I would discover that my friends came from two-parent homes because I grew up in a single-parent home. And there they had houses and washers and dryers and dens. And get this, a housekeeper. A housekeeper in the early 90s, late 80s? What? You know, House clean from top to bottom. New furniture. Don't use these guest towels. In my house, we use guest towels. We didn't have guest towels. We used towels to dry our hands, but we weren't at this particular house, we weren't allowed to use the beautiful pink towels that were hanging. We had hand towels that we dried our hands with. So I learned, and even when it was dinner time, their dinner smelled different than mine. I had neighbors that were vegetarians. I'd never heard of a vegetarian. What is a vegetarian? And they had special snacks and they ate a lot of beans. And they said, "We don't eat meat." What? This is the early 90s, y'all. And I'm getting the shock of my life. And I'm realizing that every household was different. Every household smelled different. Some households were junky and actually had animals in it. And some households were clean and in order and had a housekeeper. And some parents went fishing and hunting and they took family trips. And other families, they didn't do anything but give the best ghetto birthday parties with the sweetest red punch and cake and ice cream and hot dogs. So early in life, I learned that everybody comes from different walks of life. Everyone has a different way of living, a different attitude. Oh my God, what really blew my mind, I was like, "Hey, I know it's Sunday. You guys go to church?" "Oh, we don't go to church." What? Who doesn't go to church? It's Sunday. In my mind, my little mind was being so blown. Oh, no, we're Buddhists. What is that? So, everybody's not a Christian. There are people from all walks of life. There's some people that specifically have grown up to come together and take over the world by any means necessary. And God is not in them or of them. There are some kids that have learned different things from their parents. They're going to cheat and copy tests. They're going to steal your kids' erasers and pens and backpacks and jackets that you have spent a lot of money on. And, you got some kids that, they don't have a moral compass because their parents didn't have a moral compass. So it is up to us to stay in the word and be able to maneuver and understand the word. The word says everybody's not alike, and many are called, but few are chosen. There are different groups in the Bible that believed and didn't believe and fought and then survived. So, you know, it really all is it's really all it's all about being true to self, knowing who self is, knowing your self-worth, knowing what you contribute to this world as a light, and you're not going to force feed anybody. When you are a light, you ain't got to force feed and make a grand statement. Hello, everyone. I'm the light. I've arrived. I'm the light. Hello. I'm the light. No, no, no. You don't have to do that. People are going to see it. Good people are going to see it. Bad people are going to see it. Broken people are going to see it. Sad people are going to see it. Babies are going to see it. Dogs are going to see it. Cats are going to see it. Everyone's going to see it. But it's all about how people are drawn to you, what their intentions are when they are drawn to you, and it's all in how you react. So, you guys keep a prayer life. Get up and stay connected to God because God will guide you. I've had people, I've had people to come near me that didn't mean me no good, but you know what? God told me to stay silent, and I stayed silent. And guess what? Because I stayed silent, they passed over. Or God will send someone to intercept the moment, or just speak up for me on my behalf. I didn't have to say not one word. Other people that weren't even the light will walk over and say, "Hey man, leave her alone." I remember working out at the gym, and I was in a really bad neighborhood, and I joined the gym, and I'm working out. This man, you could tell he was a hardcore game banger. You know, tattoos on his face, bad teeth, and wore glasses. He's a big man. He just came across as very, very interested. And his buddy from the same set walked over because he could see what was going on and said, "Hey, man, hey, let's go on over here, man, and do these sets." Because he already knew the man was gonna say something colorful to me and inappropriate to me. And to this day, man, I am so grateful and so thankful for that gentleman because I wouldn't have known how to react to the man that was going to come at me because I knew he was from a gang. And if I reacted wrong or rejected him wrong, it might have been some stuff. So I know that when you stay close to God, the anointing is so strong. God will send his soldiers to protect you. He will raise up a standard, y'all. All I'm saying is, and the whole purpose of this live is understand that we're not arguing with anybody. We are using our discernment. If God says no, we immediately are shutting it down. That we don't need a reason. We don't need to see why God said no. If he said no, the answer is no. We're shutting it down. If he says no to friendship, it's a no to friendship. If he says no to a relationship, it's a no to relationship. If he says no to a church home, it's time to pack up and go. You might not understand, but you will move it along. I was removed from a church home. God told me don't never return there again. Ever return there again. And years later, I found out that the gay man who was a pastor and his lover married a woman and her sister. And they're all are and her lover. And they're all living a lie. They married beards. So they're still living their lifestyles. But in the church, they're appearing one way, you know, and I found that out years later. You guys, I want you to be encouraged. This life ain't easy. Sometimes it's a lonely walk, sometimes it's a quiet walk, sometimes it's a boring walk. But I'll take quiet over chaos. And I'll take this anointing over anything, y'all. I promise you I will. And I don't take it for granted. I don't. I've made mistakes where I've given it away through uh, corrupt company, through having sex with people out of wedlock, through making bad choices and being quick to anger and quick to speak. Those things affect your anointing, those things affect your power. And once God chooses to restore you of your anointing and your power, when He feels you're ready and that you've learned, man, you don't take it for granted at all. You ask, you stay close to God, you ask Him for wisdom and discernment. I have not always been a good girl, y'all. I have not always been obedient. But as of right now, I know it ain't nothing out there. They used to have this song called uh Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent by Gwen Gerthy. And boy, it was a big conspiracy amongst the men and the women because men did not like that. They like, oh, they felt like it was so disrespectful. Like you try to ask for a woman's hand and ask her what's going on, and she said the rent. Ain't nothing going on but the rent, you know. But I'm telling you right now, if you go outside of the will of God, y'all, it ain't nothing going on but the rent, and you will pay. You will pay, and it is a setback. It's a setback. So, anyways, I'm Nikki St. Clair. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. And I want to say to that person that is having a hard time at the job, I don't know who you are, but I just want to let you know that God sees it all, He hears it all, and you are encouraged just to stay silent and keep a prayer life. Keep it pushing. Come to work, do your job. God gonna fight for you. I don't know who I'm talking to, but God is going to fight for you. You've been under a lot of stress. It is affecting your daily thoughts, your sleep. It's affecting you with your own family life. And you becoming a person that you no longer know who you are anymore. But God is going to restore the joy, and He is going to reduce the stress, and He's about to shut it down and expose what's frustrating you. So hold tight to God's unchanging hand and allow Him to fight for you, because the angels is mad and they're about to war on your behalf, and you ain't got to say nothing. And when it's all said and done, you're going to know. You're going to know that that was none but God. And this is your confirmation. Anyways, thank you so much for choosing to be with me. Could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hype the video. But most of all, just take what I said and have a prosperous week. Thank you so much. Take care. Peace out.